Here's a simple instructional video on how to set up your handicapped league and entering handicaps two different ways. So if you're new to the handicap system and your league is new to it also, you are going to want to have every team play every other team one game in order to establish an average and to give every team a handicap. In order to do so, what you're going to do is set up your league like we showed in the previous setup video, and you're going to get back to your startup page here, and you're going to go to enter scores. Again, you're going to do this after you've created your schedule. You're going to go here to enter scores, and you're going to have a starter week. What you're going to do here is you're going to print the scorecards. And what you're going to do is you're going to get scorecard sheets that look like this. And every team will get their own scorecard, put their team name on it, and you will see on the scorecard it shows every team they need to play. So if they're team 1, of course they're not going to play themselves, but they need to play team 2, 3, 4, all the way to team 28, or however many teams are in your league. What you'll do is your first 2 or 3 weeks, you're just going to have everybody play everybody. They're going to go to a set of boards, they're going to grab team 2, they're going to play team 2 and record the scores. Whatever the scores are, if it's 28 to 13, they'll write 28 in their box and 13 in their opponent's box, and then all the teams will initial it to say that the scores were right, and then they'll grab the next team. Let's say it's team 18, and they're going to go play them. And let's just say you do it in 3 weeks, and you make everybody play 6 games or 7 games a night, just so that way they can knock through playing every team. Once they turn in their scorecards to you after those 3 weeks, your scorecards will have all the scores filled in. You're going to go back to League Tracker, and you're going to go to, it's going to say enter scores, but because I've done this already to show you how this looks, we're going to just hit edit scores. But you're going to click enter scores, and you're going to type in all the scores and all the games that were played. You can see some of the boxes are empty. In this case, they didn't play every game, but you're going to want everybody to play every game. You're going to enter all the scores, and you will see at the end, it'll give you a total score. It'll give you what their average is and what their handicap is. So every team will have a total score, an average, and a handicap. From there, as you go through your weeks and you go to enter scores and you print your scorecards, your scorecards will look something like this. They'll have the team name, who's playing who, and then one will always have a handicap of 0, and the other one will have a handicap of whatever's left over. You will never see, let's say, this team here has a handicap of 9 and this team here has a handicap of 10. You will not see a 9 here and a 10 here. The math will already be figured out, and one team will always start at 0 and the other team will always start at the remaining leftover handicap. So here's a good example. Let's just say this team is a 0 handicap team and this team has a 6. Well, they will start with 6 point on the board, on the score tower, and this team will start at 0. Let's say, for example, this team here, let's say they were a 2 handicap, and this team here was a 9 handicap. Well, the math is already done. Well, they'll be at 0, and 9 minus the 2 handicap will be 7, and they'll start at 7. So all your scorecards will have the math already figured out on what they'll start with for as a handicap. Every week that will change. The more games they win, the lower the handicap will be. The more games they lose, the higher the handicap will be. So it's important that you inform your players that these handicap numbers are not their true handicap number. If they want to know what their true handicap number is, you will need to print out a stat sheet every week that shows what they're at. And again, you can go here to stats, and when the stats page comes up, they'll be able to see what their average and their handicap is from week to week. The other way to do this is the way I've been running my leagues. I keep track of all of my teams and their handicap from season to season. And the reason why I do this is because there's no sense for me to run that round robin to gain an established handicap or average when 90% of my teams already have one. So what I will do is I will keep track of all my teams, and you will see here's an example of my next season. All these teams already have an established handicap and average. So what I will do in order to set up my league is I will go into my league, I will go to enter scores, and I will enter the scores for, or enter the averages for those teams. So like I was showing you here, 10-10 Fight in Progress, that's their team name. Their average is 19 and they get a handicap of 2. So what I'll do is I'll go in here, I'll just enter 19 all the way across. And you will see that their average is 19 and now their handicap is 2. Then I will go to the next one and I'll type in 16 and they have an average of 4. You will see that some of these have some, their averages are point whatever. What you can do is start typing in 12 all the way across, and then you can add 13 in some of the boxes to get you to that 0.67. So I'll show you this. Their average is 7, so I have to enter 12 in most of the boxes. So here I could leave it because their average ends up being 7, but to be fair to what they have a 12.67. I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to add 13s in some of the boxes until I get to that 12.67. So I'm at 12.66, which is close enough. If I do another one, I might go over. So you will see I type in their average and I get their handicap, and it makes it fair for what their normal average and handicap is. And I will do that instead of doing the cards. I enter their averages and handicaps from past leagues. If you have a team that is new, what I will do is I will give them the option of starting league with a 0 handicap, or they allow me to give them a handicap between 1 and 6. I don't give them any more than 6 because I don't know how well or how bad they are. So I don't want to give them a ton of handicap. Like you will see that there are some teams, some of my newer teams or my lower teams, my average teams, they have 11 handicap. That's because they've been playing for so long, and that's the handicap that they've earned. If they're new to the league, and I know that they're a middle of the road team, I might give them a 3 or 4 handicap just to get started. And as they play the league, they will earn either more or less points as they play. If you are unsure, if you have a team coming in, let's say this is a new team, and I want to give them a handicap of 2. In order to give them that handicap of 2, I've got to put in 19 points. So you'll see here's a little listing that I figured out that if they want to have a handicap of 2, all their average numbers have to be 19. If they need to have an average of 6 or a handicap of 6, I need to put in 13s all the way across in the sheet for their scores. Then again, once you figure that all out and you add that and you save those numbers, then again, every week their scorecards will show what their handicap is. If you have any questions on either way to set up your handicap league, send us an email and we'll be more than happy to help you out.